everybody, it's your girl Sherry. Welcome back to another episode of Alleged Ashley podcast. Y'all, it's Monday, so you know what that means. It is Bravo Monday. And I've got a good recap for you today on the Real Housewives of Potomac. We're still doing Real Housewives of Orange County. I will be dropping that on tomorrow. So you guys want to come back tomorrow so we can talk about all things Orange County. But today, guys, we're going to talk about Potomac. Now, before we get into our recap, I do want to tell you some exciting things that are going on with the channel. So, coming up, y'all, you know this month, October, is Domestic Violence Month. And I have paired up with an amazing podcast called Sins and Survivors, True Crime Las Vegas. They are amazing. The work they do over there on highlighting cases of domestic violence, on unsolved cases out in the Las Vegas area is amazing. So guys, if you haven't checked them out, you can find them on Spotify, on anywhere that you can find podcasts. But they're going to be with me on Alleged Ashley, October 29th. And we are going to be covering, y'all, the riveting story when reality TV meets true crime. Mark and Debbie Constantino. For you guys, this is also the month of Halloween. So for all of you guys that enjoy the show Ghost Adventures, they were fan favorites featured on that show. They've done the Paranormal Challenge. They are ghost hunters. They were. My apologies. They are no longer with us. Their story ended in a tragic murder-suicide. Y'all, there's a lot to this story. There's a lot that people don't know that we have dug deep, and we have all of those details with us on October 29th, which we'll be dropping that episode talking about what happened to Mark and Debbie Constantino. We were going to have with us none other than Janice Oberding. And Janice Oberding wrote the book Demon Song. And that book is about her friendship with the Constantinos and how she knew the couple in happier times up until that fateful day when their lives ended in a tragic murder-suicide where Mark sadly killed his wife and then turned the gun on himself and killed himself. Y'all, it's an amazing story. It is sad, but there's so much to it and you won't want to miss it. So you'll need to come back over here on October 29th and we will be dropping that episode. Also, on last Friday, if you did not get a chance to see the interview with Miss Brandy Gamble of the group Exit Strategy Group 5 that have co-written the book Design Your Wealth Mindset, please, y'all, go check the replay. She left us some wonderful tips on preparing ourselves for retirement, for leveraging income to protect, or leveraging insurance to protect your income. Y'all, it was some good gems. You don't want to miss it. So go back if you haven't. Check out that interview. There are 2 others. We're doing a series. All 5 ladies will be on Alleged Ashley, and they will be talking about their contribution to the book. All right. Now, also, while I have your attention before we get into this good recap, guys, I'd like for you to go ahead and smash that like button. Y'all, show me some love over here. I work hard. So go ahead and give me the thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We have reached our goal, actually exceeded it. We are at 5.3K subscribers. So we reached our $5,000 subscriber mark a few days ago. So thank you, all of you. Thank you so, so much for subscribing, for sharing our video content, and for bringing in your friends and family to subscribe and become actualizers. Thank you. Also, guys, if you would, please go ahead and let me know what you thought of the episode in the comments. I read them all. I try to answer all of them. So guys, let me know what you thought of the episode, what you thought of my thoughts of the episode, so we can kind of kick it together. All right. So now we are going to get into what we're here for, and that is the recap of Real Housewives of Potomac. So y'all, I thought the episode was good. And honey, let me just say this. I know last week I said that Jazelle is giving, it is still giving fake, you know, as far as she's turned over a new leaf. But on this episode, y'all, unpopular opinion, I'm going to have to say, Karen Huger, you were all the way wrong, ma'am. We're going to get into why. But I do want to know what you guys are thinking thus far. We're only on episode 2. This is season 9, episode 2. And this episode was called Double Trouble. Now, the episode opens. We're still at Karen's birthday party that Jazelle threw for her called the Hatitude Party. And you know, the theme was everybody got a hat that kind of represented something about them from Giselle's perspective. But when we come back, you know, Mia had left that table in tears because Karen and Jazelle tag teamed her about her mothering skills. Well, let me take it back. They really tag teamed her about the whole drama with Gordon and her new man, Mr. Ink. The fact that she started seeing this man before she actually officially separated from Gordon, and most importantly, how she allowed her children to be around this affair. Very messy, very wrong. And so as we left last week, Mia was in the bathroom crying with Jacqueline and the newbie, Jazzy, in tow. And they were reassuring her that she's a good mother and that not to worry about what the ladies say. Back at the table, honey, you know, Wendy tried to stick up for her a little bit, but Jazelle brings up Gordon's interview with TMZ. And she was like, look, ladies, in Mia's absence, when she's talking to the rest of the ladies that are left, she was like, I am not in any way trying to question her mothering skills. However, in that interview with TMZ, you could tell that, you know, Gordon was hurt, and that he was hurt because Mia had ink around their children. And when he chimes in and says, you know, this whole love triangle thing, you know, it's really confusing. I don't know what to make of it. You know, and a lot of people said that, hey, listen, or Mia tries to put out there, look, Gordon is the one that has brought all this mess up. He opened this can of worms, but really and truly, Mia, you're using it for a storyline. That's low, you know, and we get to see her children in a scene on this episode briefly, kind of like an in-between when they do the introductory scenes coming into the next segment. Those kids are not babies, honey. They are big enough to understand. So you are really opening a slippery slope. I mean, yeah, this show will not go on forever, but these children will be your children forever. I cannot believe that you're allowing this. The paternity in question of your son. That's crazy. Nonetheless, I'll have to say, as much as I don't want to, I'm going to have to agree with Jazelle on this. That's crazy. That's really crazy. So at any rate, Karen and Jazelle, I will have to agree. I think that Mia, to protect your kids, particularly Jazelle made that point, you need to protect your kids at all costs. This is not for this platform. That is crazy. Just saying. Y'all weigh in the comments and let me know what you think. Mia in confessional talks about how Karen certainly deflected. How did it go from them questioning Karen about her DUI and the accident to now everybody talking about her and her issues with Gordon and Mr. Ink in the mix? I'll give you that, Mia. Told you, honey, the Grand Dame, she does not play. She is the master at deflection. And I mean, we've seen it with things that have gone on with her in the past, with her and Ray's financial issues, tax issues, what have you. She dips and dives like I have never seen. So yeah, she was the master of deflection. I mean, that was last week's whole thing. But back at the table, Jazelle decides to get back to hat passing out, and she proceeds to tell Wendy that since their relationship has been in the bucket, so to speak, she proceeds to give her the bucket hat. Okay. But she does let Wendy know that she is hoping that they can get to a different place. It's alluded then that they are going to meet up. They're going to have a talk. Wendy graciously accepts her bucket hat and then proceeds to try to make a joke. Because when she puts on the bucket hat, it does look kind of hip-hop-ish. And she proceeds to go in with a little rhyme from Coming to America. You know, when the girl was at the table with Eddie Murphy and Arsenio, when they were looking for the queen. Child, it was a little rap about, I can't even remember, child. I just know that one thing about it, it did not land. The ladies was looking at her like she was crazy. Dr. Wendy, stop trying so hard. At any rate, then Jazelle goes on to give herself the hat, the queen hat. That is what you think, Jazelle. You think that's your show. I don't know, Grand Dame, Jazelle, what do y'all think? Who runs that show? Who do you think is the queen of Potomac? We'll see. Anyway, after that, she decides to give the newbies, Jazzy and God knows I cannot remember the woman's name. Vivian. She decides to give Jazzy and Vivian, since they're the newbies, a derby hat. And she tells them, welcome to the derby. And then she also decides to give Jacqueline a derby hat as well, allowing her to come back into the fold. And she's like, welcome back to the derby. Okay. All right. Well, Karen in confessional says this was not going to be the Inquisition party. And they thought that it would be because Karen said she can handle it. Matter of fact, Karen said, bring it. So Karen came in already ready for the ladies. Now, I will say this, like I told you guys before, I'm in a lot of the trap groups that talk about all the different shows. And so I like to do that to kind of see what everybody's thinking, what their temperature is with the show. I think a lot of you all really feel that Karen is not taking accountability. I'm going to have to agree with you. She seems way, way more focused on making sure that these ladies ride for her, regardless of the fact that she was definitely wrong. I haven't heard her have a very humble moment, as, again, I'm not going to keep trying to compare Karen and Shannon Bedore over at Orange County, but they are both in their seasons, with that being a heavy part of the storyline. So, I mean, rightfully so, right? Haven't seen Karen just yet have a very humble moment where she acknowledges her poor decision, what could have been. I mean, other than the fact that she's happy to be alive, that she knows she's blessed, she really doesn't seem to be taking ownership. And I don't know if it's a pride thing. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I think that she just doesn't want to give it to the ladies. Maybe not to the ladies, maybe not to the fans. She maintains a level of, it happened, I'm the Grand Dame, now what? I don't know if that's the best look, Karen. So we would like to see some moments of humility and of ownership in what you did. And, this could be a teachable moment to others. Humble yourself just a bit, Grand Dame. I don't know. Y'all let me know what you think. So we go on to Jazelle and Wendy getting ready to meet for lunch. Look, one thing Jazelle is doing on this season, honey, is she's trying to right her wrongs. I'm sure those Bravo execs were like, Jazelle, you got one more season, because listen, we were all hollering for her to be let go last season. Now they went ahead and got rid of Robin. Candace is on pause to have her baby. And then there's another thing where people are saying, well, do y'all miss Robin or Candace? I do not miss Robin at all. Not even a little bit. No, ma'am. Candace, I can see where she could have been good to keep the spice in. But I think for this season, because of how heavy it got last season and all of the infighting and all of the tension and the drama, and this one not speaking to this one, maybe they just both needed to just, for this season, it's been refreshing. I'm not going to lie. And I like Candace. Not so much a fan of Robin Dixon, but at any rate, I think so far they're off to a good start with the new additions. Also, I want to ask you guys, what do you think about Stacy Roach? Do you think that she's going to be a one and done? Because it's kind of the consensus, guys. We'll have to keep letting her story unfold, but she just seems, she gives me Katie vibes a little bit. The original Katie Ross. A little bit. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. Anyway, Wendy and Jazelle meet for lunch. Child, Wendy comes in looking fab, honey, with those feathers. Yes, and that Dior bag. Okay, Wendy brings the fashions. She does. Y'all, I saw her when I was out at BravoCon, and she was statuesque and absolutely stunning. So, honey, when she puts those looks together, Wendy comes in, and you cannot help but look. I'm sure Jazelle, when she came in, Jazelle was playing on her phone like she'd rather be anywhere else. But let me say this, I am quite sure that Jazelle had to alter her attitude if she wanted to keep her job. So some of what you guys are seeing with her new outlook on life and her new attitude towards people, I'd say it's very, very much because of the fact that she was very much in danger of losing her job, y'all. I mean, and let's be clear. It didn't hurt her a bit, this side of her that we're seeing. And sure, the passing of her father may have opened her up and changed her. I'm certain that it did. But her nastiness is still in there. We still see hints of it. If you're watching, you see it. So there's that. But anyway, basically the two of them come and sit down. Wendy in confessional says that Jazelle invited her to lunch, the same Jazelle, and they go to flashbacks. That when she tried to hug her, said, no, don't touch. That same Jazelle that didn't even want her to touch her. Now they're doing lunch. But she says, look, I'm about to turn 40, so here I am, willing to see where things go. Now, some people say that that's very foolish of Dr. Wendy. I say, girl, play the game. It's fine. Look, I'm not going to say you need your check. I think you do okay, but I think you want your check. And I think that everybody's going to have to kumbaya a little bit on this season and let us see some sort of getting along and some kikis, because we are sick to death of all the drama, backbiting, the tension, and the mess. Okay? The egos aside, let's work together. And I think that's where Wendy is as well. So Jazelle opens up with, look, Wendy, I'm not coming with any isms or nothing. I'm just here to hear how you feel, and I hope that that's reciprocated. And Jazelle says, however, she thinks about them, and she says she feels like when Wendy is good, she's good. But when Wendy's angry, she feels like Wendy can be condescending. Okay, Wendy certainly does have a condescending side. We do know when she came on the screen that she came in, like I said, leading with her degrees, leading with her education, leading with her title of doctor. Was it off-putting? Sure. Did it come across as condescending or demeaning of others when she spoke speaking down to folks? Sure, it did. I'll give you that, Jazelle. However, let us be clear that when they go back to the flashbacks, we see Jazelle with her fellow Green Eye Bandit talking about how when Wendy got her plastic surgery, got her boobs done, got her tummy tuck and what have you, got her body done, that was because Eddie was out there cheating. Now look, there was no evidence of that. They were messy and could not stand to see anybody being happy. Wendy looks good because when you see her in them flashbacks, child, listen, wasn't like she was not attractive before, but when I say she has some good work done, I'm just going to say she has some good work done. Her and Karen both. Honey, we're going to get to it, but y'all, with the flashbacks of the scenes with Karen and scenes of seasons before, good gracious. Again, they have some talented doctors. Because Karen looks good. Now, she pulled a little extra tight. Yes. To the point that some of you guys have talked about the way she can't seem to close her eyes. But child, let me just say, I'm going to give it to you, Grand Dame. Your surgeon is good. Because, ma'am, what a difference. That's all I'm saying. Y'all put in the comments. You feel what I'm saying? She does look. She looks a lot younger. She looks way more together. I mean, when you're looking at it, you don't know, honey, until you see the new and improved version. But anyway, Wendy said that, okay, she receives that. And Jazelle says that there's no room in friendship when you talk to folks in a demeaning way. And so again, Wendy says she receives that. However, she also thinks it's wrong for someone to police how someone feels or how someone responds when you came knocking at the door. Meaning, you started it, girlfriend. You started it with that mess coming for her husband. So listen, Wendy had no love for you because you were messy and you were trying to put out there that her husband was unfaithful to her, and she was definitely not here for that. So you got what you gave. At any rate, Wendy did receive it, but she wanted Jazelle to know that also Jazelle needed to know that when she's upset with somebody, she tends to isolate them. And Jazelle said, I received that, but just know when I'm angry, I don't want to talk to you. I have nothing to say to you. But y'all, they agree at this point. Look, Jazelle says, if you've done something to me, then I'm going to let you know. And Wendy says, in that moment. And she agrees. Yes, in that moment, I will let you know. All right, so they get past all of that. And Jazelle asked her how she felt about yesterday at the party. And Wendy says, I think the party was good. I think Karen really needed that. But she said, I think that Mia was really hurt. And she was hurt more than you know. Jazelle lets her know, look, I wasn't questioning her as a mother. She was just saying that, look, all of that had no place here. Meaning all that mess with Gordon and Ink and all of her philandering ways just kind of clouded things out. And Jazelle claims it just was not the place for it. Again, I agree in the sense of I feel bad for her children, particularly both of her children. I'm not going to say just her son, but definitely her son. But it's just wrong, y'all. It's just all the way wrong. So then Wendy asked Jazelle if she had met Ink, and Jazelle said no, but Karen has. And she said that when she did see him, she had to look over. She couldn't see him because he was so short. Child. So then Wendy says, well, is that why they posed that way? So then they flash back to all the photos of Mia and Ink. And you have Ink in front and Mia behind him, just so the camera trick can make it look like they're closer in height. Because Mr. Ink is height challenged. And Jazelle leads in with, they just don't see eye to eye. Okay, cute. Because Ink is a shorty, y'all. He is. And Mia is tall. Mia's a tall woman. So there's that. So now we go over to Stacy. And we're at Stacy's house. And she's there at her house with Aura, her au pair, and her daughter Arabella, who is precious, y'all. She's a very cute little girl. And we find out that Arabella is trilingual. She speaks German, Spanish, and English. And Stacy lets us know, child, for the 50 millionth time that she's from Detroit. We know, Stacy, you're from Detroit. We got it, girl. What up, though? Detroit in the house, y'all. She wants us to know. Okay, we know you're from Detroit, Stacy. But she's currently in D.C., and she has the house in the burbs that she shares with her husband, or her soon-to-be ex-husband, and her daughter. But she also has an apartment in downtown D.C. that she lives in, while her and the ex are currently staying in the same house officially until they work out all the details. They have not let their daughter know that they're getting divorced, which, child, that always floors me because kids are so much smarter than we think. I mean, you don't think that child realizes that, when one's working, one's not there versus the other. And I'm sure there's body language and there's something. Honey, despite your best effort, kids are very, very smart. I don't think you're fooling Miss Arabella. Miss Trilingual Arabella is a lot smarter than I think you guys are giving her credit for. However, that's what they're doing, and they're trying to have a divorce with class. And at this point, she's trying to get Arabella ready because Arabella is going to be spending the summer with her dad in Cabo, or spring break in Cabo. So she's working on her Spanish. She's got it down, child, till Stacy asked her, does she know their phone numbers? Now listen, in this day and age of cell phones, I mean, it is a far cry from how it used to be when we were growing up, honey, when we had that landline and you had your number down Everybody that was close to you, all your besties, you knew their home number. Y'all put in the comments, those of you that are of age, how many still remember their home number? I do. My parents still have a landline, so that number ain't changed, honey. I'm 51 years old. They've had the same number, God knows, for the majority of my life. I mean, my grandparents are gone to glory, and I still remember that number. So, I mean, as smart as kids are now, cell phones have made us lazy. You put that contact info in there, and all you have to do is push it, child. And so actually memorizing numbers, so that baby was struggling with that. So at any rate, now we're going over back to Karen's house in Keiarna. Finally, we get to see Keiarna. She's there, child. Let me put Miss Keiarna on the screen, honey. I am so glad they gave her a flute. She deserved it after what she went through last season with the whole debacle between her and Ashley's friend Deborah, the scuffle, honey, when they messed up her face or they made a scar that she has to carry for the rest of her life, throwing glass, child. That's how it went dark. But I'm glad they brought Keiarna back, or Keiarna, I'm sorry. And Kiana and Karen have become close because if you remember when the whole melee happened at the GNA fashion show and Keiarna got into it with Deborah, resulting in an injury to her face, it was Karen that went with her in the ambulance and that kind of stepped in and mothered her through it all. And so as a result, they've become really close. So Keiarna shows up with gift in hand because, you know, the Grand Dame has done her triple 20 plus one. She's 61 years old. And she comes in. And so she comes in to kind of let Karen know what she's been up to. We find out that Keiarna is about to build a home that she's going to move in with her boo thing, her boyfriend. And until they build their home in the suburbs of Baltimore, they are living in his home. Okay. Karen lets her know that she went through a similar thing with Ray. However, with Ray, she was like, I'm not moving in without a ring. And Keiarna lets her know, yeah, my mom is kind of like, she'd feel better about things if I had a ring. Yes, ma'am. Because what you don't want to do is buy a house with somebody you're not married to. I mean, even with the ring, honey, and the marriage, things can go left, but at least you have something to fight with. You don't want to get entangled with owning a whole real property with somebody that you're not legally married to. Not smart, Keiarna. You heard it from Sherry here at Alleged actually. No, ma'am. Don't do it. But we do find out that Keiarna, it's been a while for her to really get in this place with a man because the last time she actually was living with someone or with someone in that series of a relationship, it was her fiance who has since passed on. So sorry to hear about that, you know, but she has finally found someone that she loves. And so this is the direction she's going in. So hopefully things work out for her there. So at this point, she asked Karen how she's feeling, and Karen says she's okay, a few twinges here and there, but she's been celebrating life because she just had a birthday, you know, with her birthday party, and she tells her about the Hatchet party, and Keiarna's like, say who now? What party? Because she wasn't invited. Jazelle did not invite Keiarna to the party, which is why we didn't see her in the first episode. She wasn't even invited, y'all. But so Keiarna let us know that she was very disappointed because everybody knows that her and Karen have become close. So she's just like, I don't know why I wouldn't have been invited to the party. But Karen's like, well, I'm going to speak to Jazelle. But just to let you know, they are going to do another GNA event. So hopefully you'll be invited to that. And Keiarna kind of looks like, why? Listen, can you blame her? I mean, last time she was at a GNA event, she was being hauled off on the stretcher with a gash on her forehead. So that's a hard pass for her. And I can't say I blame her. So Keiarna then asked her how were the girls. And she said, you know, the girls were fine. She thinks that maybe it was a little too soon for her to even go out to this little party, honey, because she said she felt like the whole party was an inquisition type feel because they had lots and lots of questions. She said both Mia and Jacqueline. And she wanted to know who the real B was in her life. And she says, because at this point, if they F with her, that's fine. If they don't, it's deuces. And this is Karen's whole attitude. I think it'll be this way through the season. She's kind of like, look, you think y'all got me. I'm down right now. It's a lot going on. But she's big on who has my back. But Karen, it's not so much about who has your back. You got a whole number 2 DUI with lots of citations. It's all over the news. These are your friends, your castmates, and of course, they're going to have questions. Matter of fact, not only are they going to have questions, the producers are going to make them have questions. So you might as well buckle up, honey, and get the answer in. You can't dip and dodge all season. Then again, knowing Karen, she sure can, actually. So I digress. Y'all let me know, again, what y'all are thinking about Karen and how she feels like she's been in an inquisition. I mean, what'd you expect, man? At any rate, now we're back over at Stacy, honey, and Ashley's coming over there to Stacy's house. Stacy, watch your back. That's the messiest one out of the group, next to Jazelle. If you want another season, that is not who you want to align yourself with, if you will. But anyway, Ashley comes over and she lets us know that she first met Stacy on Fox 5. And she's like, you know how newscasters have that newscaster voice, but some can turn it off. She was like, Stacy can't turn it off. And she said, but she thinks that Stacy's really sweet. She likes her. And Stacy does come off as, I like Stacy, but she does come off as very rigid, very not uptight per se, because she's trying. She's likable, but I don't know. I guess they're just going to have to just see how it pans out. I mean, she's given us her story because we're getting ready to talk about that, but I don't know how interesting she's going to be. Y'all let me know what you think about Stacy Roach. I think she's absolutely stunning to look at. But holding her own on Potomac, I don't know, child. But anyway, they come on outside because they're about to do a hike. Ashley looks around and says, "Ooh, it's nice out here. Do you cut your grass?" And Stacy was like, ha, no. Like, girl, who are you talking to? Cut my grass. And she was like, okay, well, who cuts it? She was like, I don't know. I don't even know who cuts it. And then confessional, she's like, am I supposed to know who cuts my grass? Detroit. Girl. Anywho, we won't let you have that one, Stacy. But yeah, let's don't act like we're that far removed. Miss, what up, though? But okay. Anyway, they keep going, and as they're going, they're walking along, and Ashley has the nerve in confessional to say she wants to know, so does your husband still take care of things? And she was like, oh, listen, we've been separated for over a year now. And so she was like, okay, is he living here? And she's like, yeah, we both live here together. She's like, he's living here with you? Girl, the same way Mike was living with you until just what, last season toward the end, and the house that he helped you buy? Girl, please. She says in the confessional, what are we doing? She says she knows when you live with somebody on the same roof, you still feel like you're together. No, Ashley, that's you. You and Michael still feel like you're together because y'all are. Because y'all been playing in our faces for about 3 years talking about some divorce. When you know you ain't trying to go nowhere because you need them coins. Girl, bye. Listen, if it works for them, fine. But you was staying with Michael too. Matter of fact, you wasn't just staying with him. You was with him. Stacy's not under that same thing. I mean, they are in the house for their daughter. Girl, everybody ain't like you. Anyway, Stacy asked Ashley what her nationality was. And Ashley let her know that she was biracial, that her father was white and her mother was black. However, Ashley identifies as a black woman. And Stacy says, okay, so you're biracial like Arabella. Yeah. And she said, so how do you identify your boys? Are they little black boys? Are they biracial boys? Y'all, this conversation got on my nerves. Ashley said, well, it's something we're working through. She says they don't have the qualities to identify themselves as black based on their interactions with their peers because I guess they're not around any other black children. But we read books, we talk, and I'm like, child. First of all, she's like, well, they're not really around anybody black in my family. I'm going to address this. Let me tell you what Stacy says. And so she's like, well, I totally understand because Arabella, she's like, I don't know how Australians are, but Germans are very proud. So Arabella has tapped into that. Arabella's proud of her German side. She loves her Uma and Upa. She loves speaking German. She's just very pro-German, and I want her to feel the same about her black side. But like I said, my family's in Detroit, so she's not really around any other black women. Y'all live in D.C., okay? One of the blackest cities around. And you mean to tell me you can't find any positive other black female role models to have around your daughter, actually around your sons, no other black people? Are you kidding me? It's your responsibility to make sure she's proud of her black side like she is of her German side. Your responsibility, Miss Roosh. That was crazy to me. If you want her to be proud, that's your responsibility. Make sure she knows about her black heritage. Bring her around some of the, in your circle, some of the strong black women. Am I tripping? Was that not a concerning conversation? And it goes with Ashley too. You mean to tell me, because I'm going to tell you something. If you don't educate them and you don't have them around other black people and get them to get in tune with their black side, the world's going to tell them the way the world's going to want to tell them. Child, that's just my opinion. Anyway, Ashley goes on from that and asks her if she's dating. And she said that she is, that she met someone while at QVC, and his name's TJ, and he's Christian. And they met, and instantly they became friends for 6 months, but they could not deny their spark, and now they are dating. However, they do not sleep together. They cannot be intimate. He's a Christian. He doesn't want to have sex till marriage. And Ashley's trash box says, say who now? So you ain't doing nothing? She's like, heavy pet nothing? She's like, oh, no, we work out a lot. We pray together. We work out a lot. And girl, ain't nothing wrong with that. Ashley's like, you haven't had any new D in like 16 years and the opportunities, and you're not, no trash box, because everybody's not like you. Ashley goes on to say, couldn't be me, ma'am. We know. We know, trash box. Everybody's not like you. Anyway, over at Jazelle's house, Karen comes by to visit, and she's dropped off by a car, and she comes in. Giselle's making cookies, and messy Giselle's like, oh, yeah, I was going to look and see, how you got here. I mean, did you Uber? Do you have a driver? And Karen's like, well, of course I Ubered over. I mean, Beyonce has a driver. Why shouldn't I? And she said, well, you had a driver. What happened to Blue Eyes? And she's like, I'm getting a new one. Child. There's so much I can say about that. I'm just going to say this. You should have had a driver before. Should have Ubered before. Karen, I don't know how you'll keep on jumping around the obvious, but okay. Anyway, Giselle asked her, did she have a nice Hatitude party? And she said, well, I thought it was a nice Hatitude Inquisition party. And Giselle said, Inquisition of who? Karen says, me. And Karen said, well, her intentions were great. She said, well, wait a minute. And the whole thing with you naming the non-alcoholic drink after me. And she says naming it Karen. She actually named it the Grand Dame. But she was like, nah, I was not trying to be messy. I wanted to have a non-alcoholic option for the ladies. And Karen was like, girl, they could read. It was on the menu. But Karen in confessional says, look, Jazelle's always been messy. And y'all, that's when she does the flashbacks. So when Jazelle had the free Uncle Ben tax reform shirt on, being messy about when Ray was having his issues with back taxes and they were having financial issues. And that's when I'm saying Karen, ooh, it was a notable difference of what she looked like then and now. So again, I'm going to say the work is working. So at any rate, Karen's like, look, that's just what Janelle does. Matter of fact, I would be offended if she wasn't messy. So at any rate, Jazelle let her know. Oh, Karen did say, she liked the attitude party, but she thought the bucket hat for Wendy was a bit much. And this was the segue in for Jazelle to let her know that they had had lunch. That their relationship had been because, when two people kind of assume things about each other, well, you know what that does. She let Karen know that they had talked through their things, but she did let Karen know that she had let Wendy know that Wendy does tend to be demeaning to people. Never said what she was sorry for or what even Wendy said about her. It was just that, oh, well, we worked through it. She received it. That's very Jazelle. Very Jazelle to say that, I let her know what was wrong with her and she's going to work on that. So, child, please. Not owning your part in it at all, man. Very typical. If y'all think Jazelle has changed, keep watching. So, Jazelle then mentions how at the party, Jacqueline had a whole lot of questions for her that she said, but when Karen got there, she didn't ask them. And Karen let her know, well, as far as I'm concerned, Jacqueline's on timeout. And Karen has made a statement that, Jacqueline had said where she was going to wait until the court made their verdict or a statement came out before she made up her mind. And Karen says her real friends ride or die for her no matter what. Again, I still think that it's very naive or very rich of Karen to think that none of them have any questions for her about that night. And, you can lean into, well, legally, I can't talk about it, but some of it she can talk about. I mean, DUIs are pretty open and shut. They're going to know if you had alcohol in your system and how much alcohol in your system, and it's just against the law. I don't even see how she thinks she's going to beat that one, provided they find out and it's confirmed that she was actually intoxicated. Child, we'll have to keep watching and see. At this rate, Jazelle asked, how was Keiarna doing? And she said she was good. She looked cute. Keiarna's fly. But, she was kind of bummed she wasn't invited to my party. And Jazelle says, well, I could only have so many people in that room. So that's why I didn't invite her. But, child, I don't know. I mean, I guess so. Because, really and truly, I don't see why she would have an issue with Keiarna. Because that was Ashley's mess with her messy friend. And so perhaps that was the case, child. At this point, Jazelle does say, look, Karen's being messy by even letting Keiarna know about the party or letting her know she wasn't invited because she wouldn't have known if she didn't tell her, and that she really doesn't have anything against Keiarna or Kay. Okay, Kay. Anyway, Jazelle brings up the GNA event to Karen. And she says, well, look, and Jazelle is really excited about this event. You come to find that this fusion event for GNA is also that she's partnering with the Brain Tumor Association. It is in honor of her father. She wants Karen to know it's going to be a cocktail hour, so to come kind of cocktailish. And that's when Karen lets her know that she is actually going to also be awarded, and that she knows it's that same Friday, but she doesn't know what time it is. But she assures Jazelle that she'll be at both. Because Giselle's like, well, what time is your event? And she says she don't know. Now, y'all, how many times you know you're going to be awarded and you're going to a function and you don't know what time it is? You tried it, Karen. You tried it. But anyway, she talks about the award, Karen does, and how it was an award given to those that give back to others. And she said, you know, this is who the real Grand Dame is. You know, she seems vindicated with this award. You know, at a time when she's being scrutinized, talked about, honey, drugged through the mud, she was like, no, ma'am, they're awarding me. All right. Jazelle let us know in confessional that she had been invited to this award ceremony 3 months ago, and that Karen was not on the list of awardees. So it is her thought that some of these people could not make it, and she asked to be awarded. I don't know, child. That sounds kind of crazy, but who knows? And she said she believes she did it so she could be like, hey, look at me. I'm Karen Huger, the Grand Dame, and I'm being honored. So everybody forget about the 8 citations or 9 citations that she had, child. Those were Giselle's words. All right, y'all. The next scene at 6 o'clock in the morning, and the group text is ensued. Karen sends out a group text to the ladies. Y'all, this was so messy. Honey, that was Karen's get back for that attitude party. You can't tell me no different. Anyway, she sends a group text to the ladies that Jazelle and Ashley had already invited to the G&A event, and says, ladies, there are 2 events scheduled for the same time. And she said, I encourage you all to go to both. However, I am also going to arrange some good old transportation for you ladies. And Jazelle is livid. She was like, listen, I thought we were friends. You know, this is for my dad. This is in honor of my dad. She was like, that's not what friends do. Yeah, y'all, I'm going to have to give it to her. But Karen in confession says, look, sorry, they're both on the same day. But should she not have people at her event because Jazelle has an event? Karen, dang, that's messy. I don't know. So Jazelle went ahead and responded to the group, honey, no, you tell you what, y'all go on to Karen's event. Don't even worry about mine. I don't want to have y'all going all over town trying to get to events. You just go to Karen's. She's livid. And in light of what it's for, I understand that. You know, I'm going to get, on this recap, I'm going to give it to Jazelle. I actually felt bad because that was in honor of her late father. And that was for fundraising for something near and dear to her, to help others to not have the same fate as her dad. And she does let us know that her father had a brain tumor, that when it was detected, when they found it 12 days later, he passed away. And so it was her hope that they can do something, some research, raising money for it, so that other people can get detected, their tumors detected in time, to have a chance to do something about it and to be able to survive it. And so, yeah, Karen, no, I wasn't here for that. Honestly, I wasn't. So at this point, honey, the van arrives for all the ladies and they all get in. This is to go to Karen's event. Now, Jazzy tries to call. They're all trying to figure out how they can graciously go to both, because it is the same time. We're talking 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. That's not a lot of time to get to 2 events, to properly show your face. And so when they call and they tell Ashley they'll be at the event by 8:30, honey, Jazelle and Ashley have already talked about it, and Jazelle is so mad. And she was like, I don't even want them here. I don't want them here. And Ashley being messy, but she says to them when they say 8:30, she was like, girl, don't do that. If you can get here by 8, y'all need to get here by 8. They assure her they're going to do that. Okay, y'all. So they go to Karen's event. They all make a showing. And it's the inaugural award ceremony. And no one's really sure why exactly she's getting awarded. But child, it's the Grand Dame. She's there amongst them. The ladies come, they do photo ops with her, and now they're back in the van trying their best to make it over at the GNA event. By now, Ashley and Jazelle have taken the stage. They have said their thank yous. The woman that is over the Brain Tumor Association has spoken. So the ladies arrive at the event at 8:02. So let's be clear. First off, let me say this. Now, Ashley had the conversation with Jazzy, and she knew that they were going to make it their business to get there at 8. Now, it may not have made any difference, but y'all weigh in. Because you see messy Ashley come right up to Jazelle and say they're not going to get here till 8:30. That was not the conversation they had on the phone. They agreed they'd be there by 8. I'm not saying that it would have made a difference. But I am saying, that's not what was discussed. So that was actually being messy. Well, by this time, Jazelle is livid. She's like, nope, they're not coming. All right, y'all. They pull up at 8:02, and they're actually relieved that they got there because they're asking the driver of the ETA. The ladies care. I hated that they were put in that position. But honey, they come in. Jazelle sees them, quickly is over there. She is like, no, ma'am, y'all are not welcome. Get out. Honey, she calls security, and that's how the episode ends. Y'all have to let me know what you thought. Did you think that Jazelle was well within her rights to say, no, don't come in? Or do you think she could have cut the ladies some slack, given how Karen put them in kind of a difficult position? The only two that actually showed up, y'all, to Jazelle and Ashley's event was Vivian, and that's because she had accepted their invitation first, and Jacqueline. And that's because Jacqueline was left out of the group chat because Karen ain't fooling with her right now. Y'all weigh in and let me know what you thought of the episode. Y'all let me know if you thought that Karen was wrong, or do you think that Jazelle got what she deserved? I'm going to say I'm going to have to give it to Jazelle solely because Jazelle was doing this in honor of her late father, and with Karen still grieving the loss of her parents, and I just thought she would have been a little bit more sensitive than that. But you guys weigh in and let me know what you thought of the episode and what you thought. Listen, I will be back on tomorrow to talk about Real Housewives of Orange County. You are not going to want to miss that recap, honey, because it was high tea and high tensions, and we have lots to talk about. So thanks, y'all, for tuning in. Come back every Monday for Bravo Monday so we can talk about all things Bravo and the Housewives. You guys have a great day. All right. Bye.